Welcome to the FL Studio Core Fundamentals video series. In this video, I want to introduce you to the browser and its many tabs. The browser in FL Studio is a powerful window that gives you access, quick access, to your sounds, plugins, samples, and project files. Now, to show or hide the browser, you can press Alt F8. You can also go to View Browser. And there is also a shortcut on the toolbar to show and hide the browser. If the browser is visible, when you click on one of these options, it will hide the browser. Now, you may have noticed when the browser hid, everything slid over. This is a special feature of the browser. Oftentimes, I will use FL Studio with the browser closed because unless I need something from the browser, there's no reason for me to leave it open when I can use all the extra space that it provides by not being there. The browser also has another unique feature in that it can be set to auto hide. If you go to the browser menu, you can select auto hide from the browser menu. Now, when it's set that way, what will happen is when you're off the browser, it hides. If you slide your mouse over to the left, it pops back in. Sliding it back off of the browser makes it automatically hide again. And you can see how the windows move as needed. So for some people, it's convenient to leave that setting so they can go in here, grab what they want, and then when they're done, it automatically hides itself. I personally don't like that, so I turn off auto hide and I just bring it up and hide it as needed. Now in the browser, you can do various things. You can select items, you can open folders or nodes, you can drag items from there into your project, and you can preview sounds. For example, if we look at the browser window, you can see there's a lot of information being displayed here. And this row of icons across the top are what are called browser tabs. Now I'm going to expand this open a little bit because right now they're just icons. But as I open it up, you'll see they turn into text. And this gives you kind of a clue as to what would be within each of these areas. I don't know why it's resizing automatically, but these different areas here will show different information depending on which browser tab you have selected. In the All tab, you get a lot of information. Many people find it to be too much information, and it can be confusing if you don't know what you're actually trying to do. For example, you have current project in here. You have your plugin database. You have presets. You have channel presets, mixer presets. You have a lot. You can read what's in here. You can also add your own items in here. For example, where it says drum kits and impulses, those are my own folders that I've added to this. To add your own folders in there, you can go to the browser menu and go down to where it says configure extra folders. That'll bring up this window, which will let you add to this list right here. And these will be extra folders to display in the browser. Now the All, obviously it has probably way more than you really need to look at. But let's go ahead and look at a few of the features of how the browser works. For example, if I go down to the packs section and I click on it, it opens up. Then I can see different sample packs that are on my system. If I click on, for example, loops, that opens up some loops that I have available. And you can see how folders or containers look one color, and then the files look a different color. So for example, these marked DL something. These are all drum loops. Now, if I click on it, the browser will play it for me. And it plays just a little preview so you can hear what it sounds like. And you could go in and find a bunch of loops and sounds under the packs that are there by default. So I would urge you to go check it out. As you use it, you can see things start to open, lists start to expand. It gets pretty busy in there. At the very top of your browser window, next to the browser menu, you have this up arrow. And what that up arrow will do is it will close all of the folders and or containers that are open and make it nice and tidy again. The option next to that, which looks like a curved arrow, that will reread the structure. So if you did add your own folder and it didn't appear here right away, you can tell it to reread the structure and then it will pop up. But as we continue, I want to show you some of these other tabs. This is a pretty intense area in terms of how it operates. It has a lot of stuff, okay? So let's go ahead and go from the All tab to the Project tab. If we look at the Project tab, this represents the current project. For example, you already know I have a bunch of patterns in this project, and I can click on where it says Patterns, and that will show me basically a list of my patterns. I could even go in and see what generators or instruments I'm using in this project. Some will give you a little preview picture depending on how you've set it up. I could even see the samples that are in use for this project. So the Project tab gives you a lot of information about the currently open project. The Plugins tab will show you the installed plugins that you can access. There are two types of plugins. There's effects, which are used on the mixer, and there are generators, which are used in the channel rack. The generators and effects come in basically two types. If it says Fruity, these are the built-in effects or generators that come with FL Studio. If it says VST, then it's a plugin that you have installed separately, but FL Studio is able to use it. And you can open these up and see it's quite a significant list of VSTs that I have available. New is simply the new VSTs that are found since you did your last scan for new VSTs, and that's something we'll talk about in a future video. The Library tab is where you can see the libraries for all the plugins that you may have. For example, FPC, if you go to it, there's 120 free kits that you can have. Now I've already downloaded, and you can see it says installed over here. Let me see if I can find something that I haven't installed. I'm pretty good at installing new things. But here we go. So under Flex, many of these I'm subscribed to or I've installed already. But there's one here called Main Room Techno, which I have not yet installed. And the way I can tell is there's a little download icon right here. It's tiny, but it's there. So I can click that, and then the download manager loads up, and it'll start to download and install that preset pack into my Flex. Now I'm just going to let it go ahead and do that in the background. But you can see how a lot of these I've already installed. And I would urge you to go in here yourself and go in and look at the various libraries available to you and install them if they're there. Many of them are free. For example, Toxic Biohazard has this free one called BioCore, which I haven't installed yet, mainly because I don't use it very often. But since I'm here, I might as well install both of these, and they get added to my download queue over there. And now that one's installed, and the other one will install shortly. But that's your library tab. Your starred tab is where favorite plugins that you have will get placed. The sounds tab shows you the relatively new feature called FL Cloud. FL Cloud is a way you can browse and find different sounds, one-shots, loops, that sort of thing. Maybe vocals are in there, guitar parts, pre-recorded guitar parts, etc. I'm not going to go ahead and demo that. That does cost extra. It's a subscription, much like something called Splice that you may know about already. But this is built into FL Studio, and it's nice because you can search by, BPM, you can search by key, you can search by keywords, etc. And then in my browser, I have a couple of extra tabs, one called NFX and one called Impulses. And these are tabs that I've added myself. You can actually add your own tabs here to make accessing, for example, under NFX, all my drum kits are here ready to be used. And then I can open the drum kit, find the samples, etc. One of the nice things about the browser is at the top of every browser underneath the tabs here is a search box. So let's say I was searching for cymbals. I could start typing cymbal, and boom, it starts to home in on cymbals. It'll show me folders with the text in it, like analog cymbal pack, and I can open that and then go into those folders. I can scroll around and find other cymbals, preview them, and if needed, drag them into my project as needed. So the search bar is a very useful tool in the browser. But like I said, once you've put your sounds in, generally you're going to want the browser out of the way. Maybe you close it or minimize it and just keep it out of the way so you can focus on the other things that you're trying to accomplish in your music making journey. And that's the browser in a nutshell. That was actually longer than I wanted it to be in terms of explanation, but as you can see, there's a lot to it. And in future videos, we'll do a deeper dive into various areas of the browser. For now, go ahead and stay tuned for the next video.